Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Are you a commie or a patriot? President Trump wants to know on this 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. You're either with us or against us. I've heard talk like that before. But we're here to mark the 250th birthday of America. And it looks like they are getting a crowd today, so that's great. And some people putting partisan politics aside, others maybe not so much. In fact, I'll say, well, some people are making the claim that people are putting partisan politics aside and ideology and just celebrating America's birthday. In fact, the politics has never been more divisive and is on full display. And while I'm very much in favor of just celebrating and saying happy birthday, America, the Ameri-weird aspects of all of this and the infighting and the dysfunctionality of America is also on full display. But that's what makes America America. Although we're being told that if you're a commie, you can't be an American. You got to be a patriot. But that's maybe because some people don't really believe in democracy. That's the way it is on this July 4th, 2026, 250th birthday of America. And we have, I think, some live coverage of Donald Trump about to speak tonight. And we have, a whole bunch of different weird things and good things and maybe some not so good things. And we have some Canadian things too, some Canuckistanian things, some things where we're showing Canadians saluting America on this 250th birthday, and other things where the dysfunctionality of Canuckistan is on full display too. So stay with me. We've got the weird, the wonderful, and everything between when we come back on the other side.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, Freedom 250 stuff going on all over America and around the world as other countries salute the United States on this 250th birthday celebration. And Trump speaking at Mount Rushmore overnight. And I'm sorry we weren't here yesterday. We have ongoing internet problems here. And I'm sure if you're a regular viewer and part of the Maverick family, you're well aware of that. So I apologize. We were completely out of commission last night. The system, the internet speeds here, just for some reason, especially in the evening, right around this time, often get blocked or slowed right down. So we have less than 1 megabit of speed at times, which is not adequate to even put out a video signal. So I was completely incapacitated. I could get online and I could speak or chat with people in the Rumble chat as they were waiting, as you maybe were aware last night, but the program couldn't make it work. We're back tonight, though. We've had a technician come out. They're going to need to run new lines into the building because they're not very good. Some of them going back a long time, old lines coming in here. And when they put the fiber optic lines in, which we upgraded to some months ago, there are problems with those lines too. So we're just not in the best of shape, but some steps were taken today to try to bridge or put a Band-Aid on this until we can get new internet lines installed underground and coming into the building. And we'll see how that all goes. But we're here tonight, and I was here last night, and I had a lot of things that I wanted to share with you. So I'll have to share some of those things that we didn't get to touch on last night tonight, but we have other stuff new tonight. But I'm going to go backwards in time and begin the broadcast with this remark from Trump's address last night. He was speaking at Mount Rushmore, and everybody knows he'd like to get his head carved into that mountain alongside those other historic figures from America. I don't know if that's actually ever going to happen. Some people on social media making memes again, putting his head in there. But I don't know if it's I don't think it's appropriate. Leave it the way it is, in my opinion. And I can't believe I'm even talking about this, especially when he says what he said last night. I'm gonna take it for what it is. This is Trump's new thing. This is his focus right now. It's like it's this campaign, this war, if you will, against communism. He's really ramped that up. It's always been there as a thread that runs through everything he says, everything he does. Last night, though, he's like, you can't be I'm paraphrasing a bit. You'll hear him in his own words. You can't be a commie and be a patriot at the same time.
You can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can be loyal to America. You can be a communist, or you can be a patriot. You cannot be both. As for those who peddle Marxist lies about our heritage, tell our children that we live on stolen land or that our heroes were oppressors, they're doing something much worse than slandering our past. They are slandering and attacking our future. Not going to let that happen. They're trying to tear down the great American character, to destroy the people who declared independence, who crossed the Delaware, who settled the West and conquered the skies. You know who those people are. But we will never let that happen. Our American ancestors did not shed their blood at Concord and Trenton, Gettysburg and Shiloh, Midway and Normandy, just so that a band of thieves, radicals, and lunatics could come in and loot, pillage our nation. Our heroes died to win, build, and to save, and to build truly a great country, the greatest country ever in the world. So on the eve...
Opinions vary. Oh, man. It's so hard to be America. So that's his coming together speech. I know, I get it, but what can I say? Hey, you want to hear a little bit of J.D. Vance? I think this is from, well, this is from yesterday. I don't know. Or maybe earlier today. I don't know. I don't even know what day this is from. I can't keep it all straight because I've been so busy here. I know this is a clip of J.D. Vance, and I can share that with you. Yes, I can. I think this was earlier today, just a short time ago. And this is a prelude of things to come tonight. Here's this is previously aired.
Acting Secretary Cal, two great Americans, thank you for your leadership and for everything you've done to prepare us for this incredible celebration today.
Yeah.
And I also, of course, got to give thank you, but also special greetings from the President of the United States for reviving this incredibly proud naval tradition as we celebrate 250 years of American daring and 250 years of American naval excellence. Today, we celebrate 250 years of America facing the future without fear. We celebrate 250 years of proving what a free people can achieve by the providence of our almighty Creator. I want to welcome the incredible sailors who are with us today, all the Marines, the Coasties, and countless others from all of our forces who serve our nation and do so proudly. And I especially want to thank and welcome our wounded warriors and Gold Star families, many of New York's finest police officers and bravest firefighters, and of course we have a number of local leaders from across this tri-state area. I'm honored to welcome the dozens of Navy chiefs and other guests from other countries around the world who represent the vessels joining us in today's review. And to the Americans who are watching back home, we have over 50 countries from all over the world who chose to send fighters or naval vessels here to honor our country. And we say from the bottom of our hearts, we are grateful for our friends, grateful for our allies on this special anniversary. It is a very American thing to ring in 250 years of American history by parading our naval and Air Force might for the world to see. But I can't help but consider that 250 years ago, the waters of New York Harbor looked very, very different. While the Continental Congress met in Philadelphia to ratify the Declaration of Independence, General Washington was right here in Manhattan, peering out on this beautiful land and beautiful sea. His attention was fixed on the horizon, watching for sails of the most powerful navy on earth. 1 week before, the British had begun landing troops on Staten Island, and they had landed 32,000 in just over 6 weeks. One colonist still in the city recounted it seemed as if all of London was afloat and heading to the new nation. War was coming, and everyone knew it. By July of 1776, 80% of New York's population had emptied out in anticipation of the coming violence. And that brings us back to our great General Washington. He knew the battles to come would be bruising and would demand much of his men. But they needed to know, through hot summers and cold winters, exactly what they were being asked to fight for. And so, just a few days after the Declaration of Independence was signed, George Washington read aloud the words of the incredible Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Even today, 250 years to the day later, these words command a tremendous power over us as Americans. For 250 years, they have stirred our hearts and they've reminded us of who we are as a people. But to Washington's soldiers, to the people to whom they were first read, think about this, they were entirely new. What has become standard American parlance, they had never heard those words before.
Okay, so we also have other countries celebrating and saluting the United States, including Canada. And there was a flyover at Parliament Hill today with CF-18 and F-35s. And this is just a short glimpse of what that looked like as it flew over. These planes flew over the U.S. Embassy. So Canada saying happy birthday, America. This is the U.S. Navy's Blue Angels in Washington, D.C. And it looked like this. Cool stuff, man. I like air shows. I really do. Haven't been to one in a while. But I guess we're bringing you one here live today. I guess the USAF Thunderbirds also performed, flying over the festivities in D.C., but the weather is not really cooperating. It hasn't been cooperating for the past couple of days. Heavy-duty heat and dark skies, the order of the day at the National Mall, where they are getting a crowd today, much to the relief, I think, of organizers. But high winds, I guess, have even gotten so severe there as we speak that it's knocked down some fencing. Here's what it's looking like there today. Flyover, but heavy-duty winds. As you can see from the flapping flags as the weather turns again. And just a short time ago, heard an announcement on the PA system at the Freedom 250 event advising all the people to get underneath the white tents because it's so hot. We've had people passing out over the past couple of days from the heat there. At least the people who showed up, and the low attendance has been something of an embarrassment for Trump that has been, I would say, exploited, used for political purposes by Trump's political opponents, the Democrats, and yeah, it's a blood sport, this politics, even on this 250th anniversary. Now, let's just talk a little bit about what we were going to talk about last night. NATO, or at least the United States intelligence, issuing a warning saying Russia is planning an attack on Poland, that it appears to be a very credible threat. I was going to talk about that last night. I just have to give it at least a passing mention here tonight because we weren't able to talk about it last evening. Now, the thing about a warning like this, and this was our lead story last night, it has been reported elsewhere, but take it all with a bit of a grain of salt because we are in the fog of war and propaganda runs thick. That being said, I don't think there's any question that there isn't any question that this is something Russia has been looking at. Whether they actually have made a decision to go ahead with this or if this has been elevated to a level of consideration at the Kremlin, or Putin is looking at it in a much more serious way now, remains to be seen. But this just illustrates how difficult it is for, I think, for people just to distinguish what's real, what isn't. This is a warning, but is the warning propaganda or is the warning a real warning? Is it the real thing? Well, how much of a reaction should we get from Poland? Should Poland take steps to mitigate the risk? I don't know. I do see reaction coming on the Russian influencer, social media influencer side, with some saying that this is a natural reaction for Russia, that Putin is running out of patience and the restraint is over and they're going to start to take a much more aggressive posture with Ukraine. And I think that there's some truth to that. We've been expecting that if Putin can't win the war in Ukraine, that he will simply wreck it, as Professor Mearsheimer has said. And I think there's truth in that. We're seeing these ramped up, elevated attacks against Kyiv overnight, some 500 drones and dozens of ballistic missiles fired from Russia at Kyiv, 13 people killed overnight, at least. The death toll could rise as a result of that. And the targets being hit, civilian, and it appears mostly cultural landmarks and museums, anything dealing with Ukrainian culture. Putin is hammering Kyiv. The objective clearly is to undermine morale, to take the resistance and just knock the wind out of it. The will to fight. That's what he's trying to go after now. But I think the resolve runs much deeper than anybody on the Russian side really understands. And why Poland? I think that politically, it's fairly clear. It's because the historical friction, the tension between Ukraine and Poland is being exploited there, with Zelensky and officials in Poland butting heads just within the last couple of weeks because Zelensky named, I think, an army battalion after Stepan Bandera, and Poland is upset about that because a faction or an arm of the Stepan Bandera separatist movement in World War II, viewed by some as Nazis, did slaughter, I guess, a large number of Polish people in World War II. And so there's real friction still there. And people in Poland are saying, or these officials in Poland saying, Ukraine has to come to terms with its dark past because of the way that at times during World War II, they supported maybe willingly, unwilling, difficult history there, because you had the Russians coming into Ukraine, and then you had like the Soviets, and you had the Germans going through on the other side, and people had to make these choices, which, were supporting Soviets at one point, and the Germans on at another, and people, I think, caught in the middle and making very difficult decisions about how they are trying to survive in the face of this World War II conflict, and the history from all of that spilling over into now and being, used to try and drive a wedge between Poland, which has been a strong supporter of Ukraine in this war, and using that wedge to try to split the support. So that's why Poland has been mentioned here. It's because of this recent skirmish politically between Poland and Ukraine over the past couple of weeks. So they're trying to ramp that up, and the timing is very clearly connected to the upcoming NATO summit, where the Russians, Putin, is going to do whatever can be done to try to destabilize and divide and conquer NATO. So that's kind of the background, not very eloquently stated by me here tonight, but that's really the politics, the undercurrent of the politics running through all of that, including this warning from the United States and NATO saying that Russia is planning an attack on Poland in order to test the resolve and the unity of NATO itself. And I think there is some real truth to that. In addition, we've been talking about this actually here on this channel. I've been telling you for the past few weeks that Russia is looking at possibly, and in a very serious way, I think maybe they're certainly putting it out there, the possibility of attacking NATO target using a nuclear weapon. Is Poland the target, or we don't know? We just know that this intelligence suggests that Poland could be targeted with drones, ballistic missiles, maybe even soldiers crossing the border. And then on the other side, just reported not last night, but the night before, right here, I told you that Lithuania has lifted its ban on nuclear weapons, paving the way possibly for NATO to put nukes into Lithuania. That, I think, would also possibly signal another, cross another red line, such as it is with Russia. And if that happens, I think that might get another response from Putin and result in further escalation. So all of this stuff is going on just ahead of this NATO summit. And make no mistake, the timing is directly connected to all of that. So keep your eyes on all of this. It's a very dangerous situation. We're so close, I think, to somebody just losing their temper or pushing a button when they shouldn't, or somebody doing something to trigger a much broader conflict and maybe even nuclear war. I just wish that this whole thing could be resolved, but clearly it's not going to be resolved in a amicable fashion anytime soon, because the attacks on oil infrastructure, energy infrastructure, the supply lines coming from Russia into Ukraine to supply those Russian troops, they're still being hammered by Ukraine. Ukraine has put Russia in many respects on the back foot. And tonight as well, it's kind of still a stalemate on the front lines inside Ukraine. Although tonight, Russia claiming that they've captured a key strategic target location in Konstantinivka. Hang on a second. I gotta pull up my notes. I'll be right back. Stay with me.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching. The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, sorry. I had some audio come in and it was confusing me. Hard to think while I'm just thinking on the fly like that, and then something starts playing in my headphones that makes it hard to concentrate. But tonight, yes, Putin and Russia claiming that they've taken Konstantinivka. And here's this video released by Reuters where a commander is apparently, I think this is staged for propaganda purposes, the commander informing Putin that Konstantinivka has been captured. Says here, Putin's chief of staff tells him Russia's forces have captured Konstantinivka in eastern Ukraine.
The southern group of forces is conducting offensive operations to liberate the Donetsk People's Republic. The group's forces have liberated the city of Konstantinivka, one of the main enemy strongholds within the Sloviansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinivka fortified area.
However, the Institute for the Study of War is disputing this. Like, they use a lot of open source, and I think beyond open source too, information to do their research and then make it public, and very credible, I would say, source for information on wars, especially Ukraine. And you can see here they're saying this is doubtful. ISW refutes Putin's claim of Konstantinivka captured and warns of information operation, says it is likely that Putin organized a meeting with his commanders late in the evening of July 3rd, at least in part to influence Western media coverage of the war ahead of the weekend, particularly ahead of the July 4th holiday in the United States. ISW finds Putin's claimed capture of Konstantinivka clashes with battlefield data, suggesting Moscow is staging information wins to shape Western coverage. It's a propaganda war. It's a war on many levels. And the information war is vital because it is very much about breaking the will of the people to fight inside Ukraine. And that also means they've done a pretty successful job in the United States of dividing people and undermining support for the war from the very beginning, and even before the full-scale military operation, the war, was launched nearly 5 years ago now. So keep an eye on all of that. Also, Ukraine continuing to hammer, as I said, the supply lines for the Russian troops and taking out the transportation links into Crimea, trying to take that back without actually putting boots on the ground there, but just making it untenable for the Russian forces and the people, the Russians who have moved in and now occupy, live there, and the Russians who go there to vacation in Crimea, to just make it unlivable. There are shortages of everything, and especially fuel, where it's still, we still have a situation, an emergency called, where gasoline, petrol, not being allowed for sale to for civilian use, being restricted only for the military and emergency services, essential services only. And if anybody can get a gallon of gasoline there in Crimea tonight, it's selling for over $13 a gallon on the, I would say, the gray or black market, if you can get a hold of it. So that's the strategy, and it seems to be having some impact, because if they can make it an unlivable, untenable situation where Russia can't use Crimea, and people are having trouble even getting a hold of food, clean water, energy, blackouts, people beginning to leave, and that's also an undermine morale. And it's something that you just cannot hide from the people, especially when they're blowing up oil refineries. And I think every single oil refinery in Russia has now been hit, with the exception of maybe 2. And some of those refineries hit more than once. So now you have one of the world's largest oil producers with a fuel shortage, and they're trying to import fuel from other countries. You have long lineups at gas stations. And again, this is something that Putin can't hide. And the information warfare, you can wrap that up all you want. And the info war has been, very effective for the Russians all through this. But at a certain point, you just can't hide it. And our goal here, as always, is just to try to get you closer to the truth. So keep tuning in. I'll bring you whatever I can in the proper context to try to do just that. Get all of us a little closer to the truth. Let's take a short break. We're going to come back, continue with our coverage of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Breaking news. This is fresh, hot off the presses. This is an official announcement regarding the Freedom 250 event tonight. Because of concerns for guests, performers, staff at the event, and because of approaching severe thunderstorms, Freedom 250, United States Secret Service, United States Park Police, National Park Service, Federal Emergency Management Agency, and all public safety partners are asking all guests there to evacuate the event grounds and seek temporary shelter in a nearby building. It says here available shelter locations include the Department of Commerce, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, Internal Revenue Service, the VOA building, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, National Museum of American History, National Museum of Natural History, the African American Museum, and the Ronald Reagan building. They're saying here, quote, please remain calm, follow the directions of law enforcement and event staff, and stay tuned to Freedom 250's official channels for updates, or here on Maverick News. While we're still live, we'll bring you up to the minute coverage of this. Freedom 250 events announcements will share updates, they say, on programming and doors reopening as changes on this announcement are made. Here's the official social media post on it, as I just read. Freedom 250, salute to America. And this just minutes ago, posted live. And we have it for you here tonight. Other media picking up on this as well. I think Fox News just grabbing this. Let's just tune in with their live coverage. And this isn't absolutely live. This is just moments ago, but we've got the delay, and here's what they just said.
Welcome back to America 250. Events are being delayed in D.C. because of that bad weather. A spokesperson just moments ago from Freedom 250 putting out a statement just saying the safety of our guests, performers, and staff is our top priority due to approaching severe storms. Freedom 250, the U.S. Secret Service, the Park Service, and National Park Service, and others are asking guests to evacuate event grounds and seek temporary shelter in a nearby shelter area. We will continue to follow this as you look live over the mall. Doesn't look like everyone's leaving, but apparently there are some approaching dangerous storms, so we'll keep you posted. Meanwhile, down in South Carolina, in the Low Country, it is looking much better. Madison Scarpino is live at the... Welcome back to America 2...
Yeah, there are things going on all over the United States and in other countries too. CBS reporting on it now, Newsmax reporting on it. So everything's postponed. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of irony here.
Hey guys, yeah, so they're now, as you probably just reported over the loudspeakers, telling everybody to exit the event and to seek shelter in their vehicles. The problem is no one really drove their vehicles down here, and on the actual mall itself, there's really nowhere to seek shelter. So we are seeing, if we could pan over a little bit, we're seeing some kind of crowds of people heading towards the exits. They are, again, kind of postponing activities here for the time being. There is the threat of isolated thunderstorms. I did just see some lightning off in the distance, so obviously that's a pretty dangerous situation if you've got this many people out here. You can see you've got National Guard set up right here, and I think they're going to probably start to look at doing some crowd control just to make sure people are safe, because you've got children out here, babies, elderly folks, folks who are disabled, so they've just needed, safety's got to be paramount. In fact, when the heat started to kind of move out and you could kind of see the ominous clouds move in, some really, really strong wind.
I laugh in the face of sweltering heat. When I was a kid, I used to walk to school with no boots and no socks. I just in my bare feet in the 7-foot-high snow drifts because we couldn't afford to buy shoes. So I just used to just hunker down and do the hike and I just walked the whole way. I didn't even wear a coat when it was -80 outside, and when it got hot in the summertime, I'd just bask in the heat, and I would just laugh while other people were passing out, and we never canceled anything. And the buses used to do donuts on the way to school on the ice. Now they cancel everything. They're all wusses. It's just the first sign of a little tornado, and the next thing you know, they're shutting everything down. Hopefully everybody stays safe. But you know what I'm talking about. Now you get, like, seriously, like here in Canada, I don't know, like you get even like a little bit of snow and they cancel the school buses. But where I came from in my day, back in the before times, they didn't care, man. It was like, it took a heck of a lot to shut down the schools. But now, just a dusting of snow, and it's like, we don't want the liability. And and now they just shut it down at the first sign of even just a whiff of bad weather. What was it? It was like, 100 degrees. Whoop-de-doo. I don't know. I wear a parka when it's 100 degrees outside, and I shouldn't make light of it. Some people do worry about that kind of thing, and there have been people passing out at the Freedom 250 event over the past few days. So yeah, you got to take care of folks, I guess. But That's what's going on there. Again, don't mean to make light of it, just a little bit of levity.
We are temporarily pausing the event. For your safety, please proceed to the nearest exit immediately. Take shelter in your vehicle or a nearby permanent building. Please follow the instructions of event staff and law enforcement as you exit. The Freedom 250 social media platforms will provide updates. Attendees can return to the fairgrounds as soon as it is safe to do so. Thank you for your cooperation.
No need to panic. Just run for your life. And so my question here is, if this has been happening for days at these events, and we've had some pretty severe weather here too. It seems like there's a lot of severe weather everywhere. So is that real, or is that just amplified in our minds because there's, elevated focus, more focus on all of these things because it's the sesquicentennial, I guess. So, and then the other question I have is, am I just not sensitive enough to what is going on with the severe weather warnings? Is this a sign? And you guys can weigh in on the chat. Is this a sign that climate change is a real thing? Or is this just bad luck? Or is this, what is this? Because it seems like it's a lot of it really severe weather concentrated in a very short period of time. Or maybe it's aliens controlling the weather and HARP and blah, blah, blah.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're having internet problems here again. So when I'm trying to run those videos, I can't tell if they're even running because there's just not enough speed for me to even see or control this thing properly. So I think I have a feed going out still. I don't think it's deteriorated that much, but yep, once again, we're getting cut off at the knees because of the internet issues. So I'll do my best for you here and continue this broadcast. But this is very frustrating, and we're going to need to do something because we can't continue to function like this. Because we can't function like this. We can't do it. There's just no internet connection that's viable. So we're getting close to the top of the hour. So let me see what else I can do here while we still have something of a connection. I showed you that flyover in Ottawa saluting the United States with the CF-18 from the Canadian forces and the two F-35s that flew over the U.S. Embassy. That post was actually put up by the U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, who has been making waves again online and through legacy or mainstream media. He did an interview in the last 24, 48 hours with CBC and CTV. And I'm going to comment on this because Here we go again with these crazy statements. But these ones in particular are absurd. This ambassador is not very diplomatic at times. He's saying, see, this comes on the heels of this past week's announcement from the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby, and Prime Minister Mark Carney about this new pipeline deal proposal that is now really in play. And it's moving forward, and the government of Alberta, I think, will be the main investor in it as it stands now, with opportunities for private investment as well. But it's moving forward, and the pipeline finally, which is something Alberta has been calling for a long time. It's long overdue, no question about it. It is going to happen from all indications. It's just not going to move through the north and then come out on the northern coast of BC. There's a tanker ban that will remain in place, and the new pipeline is going to flow south or follow the existing pipeline that's there, and it'll just increase the capacity, and then the terminus will be at the southern end of the BC coast, and that will provide a way to get more Alberta oil to market, and specifically over to Asia. But that oil is all sold onto the world market. So now you have the U.S. ambassador, Pete Hoekstra, commenting on this. And what he says is just, frankly, it's silly. It's just silly. It's just not an intelligent thing to say. Not the first time we've had that from this ambassador, because this is all rhetoric aimed at trying to position the United States in a position of, I guess, threatening strength or creating the illusion of leverage against Canada ahead of, ongoing trade negotiations over the Canada-U.S.-Mexico free trade deal, CUSMA. He's saying this is a silly thing to say. He says, well, if Canada decides not to supply oil to the United States will look elsewhere for supply. As though that's supposed to be some sort of a statement that would, I guess, concern Canada, concern us up here in the north. Like, duh. Yeah, no kidding. If Canada doesn't want, first of all, Canada, why wouldn't we supply the oil to the United States? We are supplying it. Just because we put a pipeline out to the West Coast, you know what it is. Well, listen to this comment first. This is what he said on CBC. I was going to comment on all this last night, but of course we didn't get to do it. Here's the clip.
Alberta is ideal. We have the infrastructure in place already. Accelerate the pace of oil going through the pipelines and those types of things. But if Canada decides, no, we'd rather ship that oil somewhere else and we don't want to ship it to the United States, again, that's a decision that Canada can make. But America's not going to wait for that decision. We will go to other places in the world to look at where we can get that oil from. Alberta is.
Yeah, that would be your choice. That's called the free market. That's the way the oil market works. The oil is sold into the world market, and you can, you buy your oil, you buy the futures, and then that stuff's even traded. Even after some of those things are sold initially, that's the way that the markets work. So yeah, if we don't supply I don't know. What a silly comment. It's not like the oil that is flowing to the United States will be cut off just because there's a oil pipeline that goes to the West Coast. This shows me several things that some people are not picking up on here. First of all, shows that the United States is actually very worried. And Canada does have things that the United States wants and needs. They need Canadian oil because it's a stable supply. Putting the pipeline out to the West Coast doesn't mean Canada is going to refuse in any way to sell oil to the United States. But what it does do is it now gives Alberta another customer, the world and Asia. Asian countries, specifically because of it coming out on the west coast of Canada. That means that the oil that Alberta currently sells and has been selling forever will no longer have to be sold at a discount to the United States. That's what the U.S., that's what Hoekstra, that's what the Trump administration is concerned about. They want, it's been a sweet deal, that Alberta oil. Oh, I know all you 51st staters out there, you keep saying that we have to just kneel down, take a knee, give in, and just give the United States whatever they want. We should become the 51st state, blah, blah, blah. I've been telling you, the United States has been, in my view, my opinion, they've been actively working to prevent the pipelines. And I shouldn't say even necessarily the U.S. government, U.S. oil companies. They've been doing all kinds of things over the years, many, many, many years, to intervene, to interfere even in Canadian politics, especially Alberta politics and provincial politics and First Nations politics, in order to prevent the pipelines from being built. You are all blaming Ottawa, but the politics is complicated. It's thick. It's not transparent. Sometimes organizations that claim to be environmental groups aren't always environmental groups. They're standing in the way of pipelines, not because they're concerned about the environment, but because there are economic concerns, financial concerns. There's money in play. It isn't just the federal government or other provinces or First Nations that have been standing in the way of these pipelines going out to, the coasts. These U.S. oil companies, they benefit. They've always benefited from the oil flowing one way into the U.S. and also up, down first through the U.S. and then back up into Ontario here, coming out in Sarnia, not far from here, where there are refineries and there's a big oil industry and chemical valley, as they call it. So, but the U.S., it's in their interests to prevent that oil flowing to the West Coast. And as you're seeing tonight, Trump going on again about communism, paranoid about China, largely. Paranoid, maybe that's not the right word. They just he doesn't want the competition. Alberta will be able to sell the oil at a higher price. That's the additional benefit of the pipeline, not just the additional capacity and being able to sell more oil. That's the goal. That's why it's such an absurd, silly comment from Hoekstra. Canada wants to sell, I'll tell you, Alberta will sell as much oil to the United States as they can take, as they want, or as much as they can provide. Plus, they want to sell it to the Asian market as well. But you're going to have to pay for it now, the real market price. That's the way she goes. And that's really what's going on here. And it also shows that Trump does not hold all the cards going into these trade negotiations. Not at all. Canada has a lot of things the United States needs, including potash. Farmers in the U.S., they had a conniption fit when he threw the 25% tariff on everything across the board, but he had to do a carve out for potash because U.S. farmers need that. Without potash, you're not going to be growing crops of the yields that are needed to feed the masses. We have things up here, and they're actively involved politically to get the best deal they can get, and not using necessarily friendly means to do it, even though they are our greatest friend and ally. This is just the Trump way of negotiating, and that's why you're getting these really, honestly, silly comments from Pete Hoekstra. There's more stuff going on than just the Freedom 250 event, which is being delayed again here tonight because of the weather. we've seen a lot of activity out in Alberta, as I've been just saying, at the Calgary Stampede kicking off. And, I have to just, some of this stuff I have to laugh about. If you don't laugh, you have to cry. I think here's, I guess this was the Calgary Stampede Parade, something I was going to show you last night. I don't know what to tell you. Does this stuff like trigger you? I just laugh because it's entertaining. But I know some people are offended by it. I don't know. I'm just laughing. It looks silly. It looks like a circus. This is the Calgary Stampede Parade. Oh, okay. Mad Max meets the drag. What's that show?
What the frick is that?
Music, I think, in the parade if I'm not careful. Just what the hell was that at the end there? What was this? Big mobile ball. I don't even know what the message is with this stuff. I guess it's just lost on me. It's okay. Whatever, man. Whatever. It's okay, I guess. No nudity there, so I'm whatever. Welcome to Canada. But it's not this isn't the only place where this stuff's going on. Did you see this stuff out of, apparently this is going on in Britain? Maybe I don't have the clip here. I just remembered these guys walking down the street in a parade. And to me, it looks like they're wearing diapers and pink decor. I'm like, what's going on with people, man? It's like, it looks sort of like Mardi Gras, but not Mardi Gras. But the hypocrisy runs pretty deep with people anyway, because they to get the smelling salts out. Oh my God, there are people, crazy people in the parade. They look like they're from the circus. And then they go to Mardi Gras. Yeah, here's this thing, okay? Oh, this is the other thing about Hoekstra, the other silly comment that he made. I'll show you this first. And U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra warns Canada that the United States will seek oil from other sources if Canada does not supply it. Okay, fine. Like, I wouldn't blame you if we don't supply you with oil. What choice would you have? If you want to buy it, you would go somewhere else. Just like if Wendy's won't sell you a hamburger, you will go to McDonald's. I get it. No problem. He says he addressed Canadian concerns over U.S. political ads. Oh, for crying out loud. And former President Trump's comments suggesting Canada become the 51st state. Discussions highlight Canada's role as the primary supplier of 4.4 million barrels of oil daily to the U.S. via pipelines, contrasting with alternatives like Venezuela, where they just took over the country. Like, yeah, if we can't get the oil and we can't invade you, then I guess we'll just have to go someplace else. I don't know what else to say.
Times we felt as though Canada would argue that we were in sort of unprecedented times. We felt as though we were bullied. There was talk about a 51st state.
You do not come into another country and run political ads against the President of the United States. We don't come into Canada and run political ads against the Prime Minister or a political party in Canada. That's not appropriate behavior.
I think that there's a lot of evidence that the United States has been meddling in Canadian politics. There's a lot of, it's not just, no, that's not, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You meddle in Canadian politics all the time. He's doing it right here in these interviews.
We talked about the 51st state. We talked about the tariffs, sectoral tariffs. You've said you don't understand why Canadians are upset with the U.S., that you just don't, you say, we've banned some products where Canadians don't want to travel some to the U.S. anymore. And you said you don't get why that is. And do you really have no idea why there would be some Canadians who are upset with the American government right now?
I'm not going to try to analyze Canadians anymore, okay? If they want to be mad about the sectoral tariffs, which are totally legitimate under CUSMA, an agreement that Canada agreed to, they can be mad at the United States. If they want to, be mad about a discussion and a point of view that came out of a discussion between your previous prime minister and the president of the United States, they can be mad at the United States of America. All I can say is, we're not mad at Canada, okay? We don't ban Canadian products. We don't tell Americans don't travel to Canada because Canada is a terrible place and is not treating us well. We don't prohibit.
I don't know. The president said some pretty harsh things about Canada.
American companies from bidding, or excuse me, we don't prohibit Canadian companies from bidding on state contracts and those types of things.
Yeah, they do.
Americans, by and large, we say we love
Trump
Canada, and our actions follow that up.
I mean, Americans largely say that, but the president of the United States certainly undercuts some of that messaging when he comes in and suggests that we should be part of the U.S. I would argue.
You can argue that, yeah.
You don't believe that, though.
I'm not going to argue about. I'm not going to get into an argument about the 51st state. Let the prime minister and the president talk about that next week if they think that's the top and the most important thing for them to do.
We talked about the 51st state.
And then we've got this issue about the Gordie Howe Bridge too. I don't know if I scroll down, I'll probably find the clip here about that. He says that, Canada did pay for the bridge. Okay. Yeah, to build this new Gordie Howe Bridge. And Hoekstra's now turned around, and this is part of the mind screw, okay? He's saying that that's a myth. It's a myth. And he's applying this very Trump-like logic. Let me see if I can find you the clip. Because he's saying, oh no, Canada didn't pay for the bridge. People crossing the bridge pay for the bridge. Hopefully it comes up here. Yeah, Canada paying to construct Gordie Howe Bridge is a big myth, according to Hoekstra. Let me show you. Again, it's an absurd thing to say, but people will believe it, especially the people who are blinded by MAGA politics. And then you sit there and say that people have TDS. Yeah. This is a mind game. Canada paying to construct Gordie Howe Bridge is a big myth, according to Ambassador Pete Hoekstra. Hoekstra's, and then here's the National Post saying that Hoekstra's comments on the Gordie Howe Bridge, a punch in the face, says ex-Harper Communications chief Andrew McDougall called Hoekstra the ambassador for gaslight to Canada in a social media post. Yes, that's very true. Because Hoekstra is saying that it's the people, this is his argument. And the bridge, of course, the opening of this bridge delayed by Trump because Trump is saying this. Originally, he was in favor of building the bridge, Canada paying for it. Then over time, yes, the tolls collected would allow the Canadian government to recoup the cost of building this multi-billion-dollar bridge, which was constructed using both U.S. and Canadian steel, U.S. and Canadian labor. At the end of all of this, 50% of the bridge will be owned by Michigan. So ownership will end up being split. Canada paid for the whole thing up front, but then is being allowed through the agreement to recoup the cost of building the bridge over time through the collection of tolls, which will take quite a number of years because it's such an expensive project. The whole thing's been built. It's ready to open. They were supposed to cut the ribbon, and then Trump intervenes and delays the whole thing, largely, I think, because he's able to control what happens with customs, not the actual business end of it. And why is that being done? Because the Maroon family, which owns the competing privately owned Ambassador Bridge, is a big Trump donor. They've also donated directly to Pete Hoekstra politically. I think there are receipts for tens of thousands of dollars paid directly to Hoekstra himself, and well over $1 million paid to Trump. And this is clearly a motivating factor for the decision by Trump to block the bridge. Plus, it gives the United States additional leverage heading into these trade negotiations where, as always, he's taking this extreme position, which is not really helpful because it's so destabilizing and it's costing the economies, both in Canada and the United States. It's a crazy, silly thing to say that Canada paying for it is a myth. No, Canada did pay for it the same way any private company that would build anything as an investment pays for something up front. Yes, that's like trying to argue that people who go to McDonald's own the restaurant. No, you're a customer. The whole idea is you build the restaurant, you invest in the restaurant to create the business, and then you provide a service and or a product, and people come as customers. The customers don't own the business. They support the business. They buy the product. The product of the bridge, the service is a cross-border connection. People can drive over the bridge and use it. You pay a toll. It's a toll bridge, like a toll road. Sometimes they're government owned, sometimes they're privately owned. There's a private bridge, the Ambassador Bridge. They don't want the competition. They've initiated legal challenges over years. They've spent tens of millions of dollars trying to fight the opening of the new Gordie Howe Bridge. They don't want the competition. The old Ambassador Bridge is like a century old. Is it more? I think it's over a century old now. I can't remember the exact date of construction, but it goes back a century. It's deteriorating. It's still safe to use it, but its days are numbered unless they undertake, some serious repairs, which would in itself be a major investment. And the Maroon family, if they do that, then they would reap the rewards of having people cross the bridge and pay the tolls there. And having the other bridge there creates more supply. Therefore, it's put downward pressure on the prices for the tolls and the price per axle that transport trucks are going to have to pay as they cross the border. So this is, going to severely cut into the revenue that the Maroon family has realized for many, many decades since they took over ownership of the Ambassador Bridge connecting Windsor and Detroit. And then for Hoekstra to say that Canada didn't pay for it, that it's a myth. No, that's like saying, as they've been saying for a long time, Canada isn't a real country. Canada is a myth. No, it's not. We are a real country. This is just the mind game being played again. It's a slick little trick that they're playing with people, but some people will buy it. They'll believe it. No, this is actually a sweet deal for the United States because both countries will ultimately benefit because we do have things that the U.S. needs. This is not helping the United States. I was going to get into some economic numbers, some jobs figures and so on tonight, or last night rather. We'll probably get into it another night, because the jobs figures that have come out from the Trump administration in this last report, they're distorted. They're not real. And the economy is not doing nearly as well as Trump would have you believe, because the stock market is not an indicator of the actual overall health of the economy. What we've got right now is a pretty big bubble. And Trump continues to inflate it. It's actually getting pretty dangerous. So we'll dig into that in more depth in the nights ahead. Anyway, let's take a little break. I'm going to come back and check in on the latest weather updates at the Freedom 250 event, where Trump is actually scheduled to speak tonight as well, live. An encore performance from his Mount Rushmore speech overnight. Stay with me. More ahead after this.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
Creating. So I will just talk and assume that I'm still live. I apologize for the problems. Have you seen what's going on with this Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce wedding? Another thing I was going to comment on last night that I'll bring you now. Let's just do a little X scroll. It's why do I feel like this is just this isn't going to last? This marriage. I'm going to predict that these two are going to get divorced. Sorry, I don't mean to be a negative Nelly or a negative Ricky, but why do I even care? Because it's like the wedding of the century. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding broke every tradition. Yeah, that might be part of the problem. New details about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding revealed. Swift and Kelce did not have bridesmaids or groomsmen. Oh my God, whatever shall we do? The pop star's brother, Austin Swift, was her man of honor, and Kelce's brother, Jason, was the NFL star's best man. What the bride and groom wore. Like, why do I care? Well, I guess this helps sell weddings as a thing, the wedding industry, the fashion industry. This turns it into a show. Ceremony looks by Christian Dior, haute couture, designed by Jonathan Anderson in collaboration with the couple. Yeah, it must be nice to have that kind of cash, eh? Well, I had a Walmart wedding. Almost, pretty much. Yeah, Adam Sandler served as the officiant for the wedding. That kind of floored me. Okay, so I guess that means that Adam Sandler conducted the wedding ceremony instead of like a minister or whatever. Okay, there weren't any cell phones allowed at this thing, but there's some pictures that have come out. And this here thing, this caught my attention. And it's only appropriate that we would see something like this. If it'll run, given the internet. So they're saying, this post says this is Travis Kelce arriving at the wedding. And I'm like, what the hell is this guy wearing? So the first thing I'm thinking is this has got to be AI. I'm like, yeah, this is breaking every tradition. Anyway, that isn't Travis Kelce. It's just repurposed video from some other event. Sam, what's his name? That's actually who it is. And I can't remember who the guy is. Sam something or other. Not Sam Peckinpah. But it just wouldn't be complete if there wasn't like some repurposed meme, fake video thing or an AI thing. But just to make it look kind of like Holly Weird and Amara Weird on this 250th anniversary. And there's Taylor Swift having a swig. And I'm going to predict these two get divorced. And here's why. Because she's going to get tired of this guy. She doesn't need him. I hope I'm wrong. But this is such a spectacle. This has become such a show. It's the wedding of the century. And this is a football star for now. But that guy, he's going to blow his knee out or something. He'll fade from stardom within the next year or two, I expect. He's already taking a back seat to her. His fame is largely because of her, mostly because of Taylor Swift. She's mega uber rich, doesn't need this guy, but right now serves this purpose for this big show that's being put on. The perfect couple, the pop star princess and the football hunk hero. It's the all-American wedding on the weekend of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. What could be more American than this wedding of the pop star princess and the hunk football hero, Travis Kelce? But you fast forward 6 months, a year, 2 years, he blows out his knee and his glory days are over. And then what's this guy going to do? He'll become a color commentator on Fox Sports or something, talking about, or ESPN or whatever, talking about football, maybe. Or he'll open a car lot someplace, as a lot of sports guys do, although he's going to have a lot of money because of who he is now. But then he's just going to get tired of him, and she's flying all over the world. They won't be connected. They won't be seeing each other. He'll be limping around, getting his knee surgery done, recuperating, and then something will happen. Something will happen. You'll see. I think you all know what I'm talking about. These Hollywood style marriages, it's like you have to get divorced because it's like a prerequisite. As soon as you say your vows, tie the knot, and get hitched, you have to move on immediately to planning the divorce. That's just the way it works when you're a super uber celebrity like Travis and Taylor. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Finished. Can't tell. Can't see him running. But we're still live, so we'll try and muddle through, do the best we can. Also, did you see what Trump did? I praised him the other day because he signed this executive order on vehicle repairs to, I guess, deal with this issue of some companies like Tesla requiring you to take your vehicle to a Tesla dealer only for service. So this executive order deals with that. It's a big concern, not just with Tesla motor vehicles, but or electric cars, but a variety of different products where the manufacturers require you to take your, especially vehicles, to only an authorized dealer in order to effect repairs. And some states have dealt with it with laws, but Trump dealing with it on a national level. But now, and I said, that's a good thing because that's pro-consumer. It gives you more choice and it makes it more affordable to own a vehicle that is, that maybe you would have to pay for a repair, but the company's saying if you take it there to like an unauthorized or an independent shop, it can void your warranty and they won't honor the warranty after that. But even for maintenance, like Ferrari does that kind of thing. If you take it to anybody but a Ferrari dealer, baby, you're on your own after that because they're not allowed to touch it. But with this new legislation, not so. But Trump has now done something that I'm wondering if it's really proper. I think there are 10 different people that he has let out of jail because they did some kind of unethical things, like running shops where they were helping people get around emissions controls on their vehicles. There was also one guy who was, I guess, like $1 million scam that was run, and he was found guilty in court of issuing or using fraudulent payment to try to buy a casino or something. And so he let them out of jail and pardoned them. Now, I don't know if it's because I have to look deeper into this. So I'm kind of sitting on the fence on how I feel about it. You might want to look into it yourself, but I'm scratching my head saying, is this really what the president of the United States should be doing? He's saying they've been politically persecuted by Biden, but the charges don't seem to be politically related. Now, maybe it's a situation where they were targeted and then these laws were used as an excuse to lay charges against them, but they were found guilty on them. And then did the punishment fit the crime? Some of the sentence is pretty severe, but some of the crime is pretty severe as well. And it's tied into this executive order that I just mentioned about warranty work. and vehicles, and some fake certificates being written because of emissions controls, kind of like on an individual basis, the same kind of issue that Volkswagen, I think, was found guilty of when they were messing with software to get around emissions controls legislation in some jurisdictions, including the United States, especially the United States. And when they got caught, they had to pay a huge fine and ended up with egg on their face and suffered reputational damage because they were cheating. Here's a headline from it, actually. Trump pardons Clean Air Act violators because, he doesn't believe in any of that stuff. Climate change stuff, I can understand the skepticism, but if you're just into letting people pollute at will, that's a little bit different with me. I'm against pollution. I like clean air, but some of this stuff can be taken too far too. Trump pardons Clean Air Act violators. I am setting them free, he said. He announced he was pardoning 6 people, but there are actually more. There are other ones too. I know it's at least 10 who had been wrongfully persecuted by the Biden administration for clean air related offenses. So he said in a Truth Social post that these people were in or being sent to prison for fixing their car. That's the phrase that he used. But fixing, I think what they were doing was they were fixing cars to get around the rules. So it wasn't being honest. He says, while I know this sounds ridiculous, it is nevertheless a fact and part of the weaponization and stupidity, he said, that our country had to endure during 4 long years of sleepy Joe Biden. I am setting them all free right now. He didn't name the people he pardoned. And earlier this year, the Justice Department announced it was no longer pursuing criminal charges under the Clean Air Act based on allegations of tampering with onboard diagnostic devices in motor vehicles. Emissions, controls, and standards. Be damned, back to the smog. A lot of that stuff has been done away with by the conservative government here in Ontario too. And yeah, the annual checks, that stuff, honestly, the emissions standards, I have to say, here in Ontario, that was crap. That wasn't consistent. The way that those things were handled, it did not help anything, but it did put money into the pockets of mechanics and garages who were participating in the program. You had to have government approved emissions censoring, like equipment to determine what was coming out of the tailpipe of cars. And of course, they always found something wrong. And then you had to replace this sensor, fix this thing on your car. Everybody was just paying to get this thing fixed and that thing fixed. And it was pretty clear to me that sometimes people were being subjected to repair bills that were not warranted at all. It wasn't a good program. And I think to his credit, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, did away with it because he could see that it wasn't really fair to motorists at all. And I don't think it was protecting the environment because of the way the program was set up. But that's here in Ontario. Not sure what's going on in the States. Have to look at it more. I don't have a firm opinion on it. Let me see what's going on with the Freedom 250 event here. I'll see if I've got an update. Are we still postponed? Are we on schedule? Are we back on track? What's live? Still 1 hour ago. Let me take a little break here and I'll find out what this call is about.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Like you had.
Okay, listen,
You're
you're live now on the program, so
thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, this is an unexpected, pleasant surprise. You phoning in. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell the viewers on Maverick News who you are and why you called?
Well, I'm Hugh O'Neill from Buffalo, New York, right there on Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, and the Niagara River, which goes to the falls. And we have quite the space. And I'll tell you, 250 years hasn't been easy, but thank you to our Canadian friends. We made it through with their help in all instances. There's no animosity. There's only brotherly love on both sides.
Absolutely.
If somebody gets in the way, don't worry about it.
Yeah. So, happy birthday to you and all of America tonight from all of us here at Maverick News and the Maverick family. And I'm so glad you called tonight. So people don't know, but Hugh does sometimes phone, and he was actually a regular viewer of our automotive show, the Street Sport Television, SST Car Show on WKBW out of Buffalo. And as a regular viewer, and because the show was often on late at night on WKBW, ABC Channel 7, Hugh would phone in in the middle of the night when the program was on and speak to me. You know, usually what time would you normally call here, Hugh? About 4 a.m., 4:30, something like that.
Well, that works for my hours. Yeah. I'm 100% disabled, and I appreciate the view. And my interest in that originates from, I have a 1984 928S Porsche, and Tom Cruise's first movie was Risky Business, and that's why I know the car, or Scarface, and I guess it made appearances in 22 other movies, but it was first considered for Tom Selleck's Ford or Ferrari, but the problem was they needed a convertible for the film mechanisms and the cameras to work. So they went to the Ferrari instead of the Porsche because they didn't make a convertible. Keep you safe.
Yeah. So what's happening over there in Buffalo with your anniversary events? Fireworks and things tonight?
They only had 250 years to figure it out and be prepared, but apparently the fireworks aren't going on because they don't have a location. All of Lake Erie. So it's kind of embarrassing. And they had a problem because they were honoring a foreign flag of Somalia and not the U.S. flag. So that everybody's got their in a tussle here. But you know what? Doesn't matter. We all love each other, and it's a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, you just can't get away from the politics these days, and we're experiencing that here on the Canadian side too. It's just the way it is.
You know, you look at it, and the Pope is fighting Trump. So Action Jackson's going on. But in the meantime, Canada is our best friend. Always has been. Always will be.
Yeah.
And there's the interim where somebody gets in the way and this and that. It'll be patched up and there's no problems.
I agree. Yeah. I have to say I think it was a hockey game short time ago, and the microphone cut out while they were singing the Canadian national.
We know old Canada.
Yeah.
Because Toronto is right across the street.
Yes. And so the crowd finished singing "Oh Canada" over there in Buffalo at the Sabres game. And that was fantastic. And I know people over here were loving it. Yeah.
They amplified it.
Yeah.
They went even higher and louder than she could have gone.
Yes. Yeah. That was beautiful. That's what it's all about right there, man.
That just lets you know how much we love you.
Well, I'm so glad you called in tonight for that very reason. It's always great to have a conversation with you. I kind of miss those calls at 4:30 in the morning. That the program's not on over there at the moment. We've kind of suspended the broadcast, and I've been focusing just primarily on this news program.
Yeah. That's what led me to call you, because I miss you. And that Byron Allen now is a bazillionaire. He bought up everything, and he took over a little spot that you kind of had. He's got a little car show on in your time spot, I think.
Oh, that guy! He took my time slot.
I don't know. I really don't know when it comes on.
That's okay.
I don't know when it comes on. It goes off. But it's like, I miss you. He's not even there. Yeah. He doesn't produce the program like you do. I mean, it's not educational. He just shows a couple of flashy, what do they call them there? The little, Matchbox cars. And you were detailed in every definition of what you were talking about. And I missed that. It's necessary.
No, that's really kind of you to say that. I'll tell you, the program is still out there. I know people are running it because I get reports of, like, once a year, I get a report to show that the program is running, but I can't tell which stations or where. But it's being run.
Yeah, they're called affidavits, and you have to do it every time you do something.
Yep. Yeah.
And you air something.
Yeah. So I get a report once a year, and it's still out there.
I want my royalties. Yeah. I want my royalties.
Yeah, me too. I'm waiting for mine. Yeah. So,
yeah, I know.
Once a year.
Well, your earnest effort will pay off regardless, because you're a maverick and you got a hard head and you're not going to let anything down. I know that, and you didn't let me down. You took my call, and being a responsible listener, I have to in turn acknowledge that.
Well, I always try to take people's calls and listen to folks, and especially our American friends. I love Buffalo, and the community there is fantastic, and we had great viewers there, and of course that station serving both sides of the border, because the signal came into the Greater Toronto area as well, and Niagara Falls, St. Catharines. That's a huge, mega powerful station. So
Hamilton, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
WKBW was named after well-known Bible works.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a 50,000 watt power back in the day when nobody had anything. And they were basically, you could get them in Florida almost.
Yeah. Huge stations. It's still active today, but everything in broadcasting has changed. The internet. Pretty soon we're all going to get jacked into Elon Musk's Neuralink, and we'll all be zombified digitally. But until then, we still have some free will. So I'm glad of that. And somehow you guys survived.
In my mid-60s, I got to look back, and it's all here. I know what it is. And just to be privileged to live in the era that I did, when you got Elvis and rock and roll, and we had the hippies and all the music and everything in Vietnam and all that stuff where the Canadians served. I mean, they've always been with us in any capacity, whether it's space, war, or goodwill. The Canadians have always been there for us.
Yeah, and you guys have been there for Canada too. So it's been,
we got more people to take care of. So, as many people as you don't have compared to us, yeah, absolutely, we're going to take care of our brother.
Yeah. Well, Hugh, thank you for calling in from Buffalo tonight. It's been great having this chat with you. Love you guys over there. Happy 250th birthday to you and America.
Well, I'm not that old.
No, but you're carrying
I'm only
on.
almost 50. I'm hanging on, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get to 250 to be all right. I still would. End. I don't know. The zombies, yeah, and the electric cars that are running through buildings and, driverless. Yeah, well, just like the horse and carriage overtaken by the automobile.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I won't be here to understand it.
Okay, sir. With that, we're going to sign off and thank you. And I look forward to your next call.
God bless you and yours.
And God bless
Hold
America. God
all
bless
Canada.
America.
All Canada. You bet.
All right.
God bless.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
There you go. Okay, so I think we had a little glitch there too because the internet is so bad again. Service dropping off to virtually nothing. I don't know if we're going to be able to continue the broadcast, honestly. It's just glitch. But I think we're back live again. So we'll continue on for the moment. I just don't know what to do to rectify the problem because this is terrible. I guess with it getting near the top of the hour and the postponement of the whole thing, the Freedom 250 event, crowds being evacuated. Organizers say that the party's supposed to continue after the storm, but it's not looking good out there, man. I guess some people are even packing up and heading home. And so now I'm seeing as well a post saying that the flyovers, the remaining flyovers at the Freedom 250 event have been canceled. And people are saying, please depart the event site. More talk about shelter areas. Internet's so bad here too that I cannot get this to work properly. We have video here though of people leaving the site that I can share with you. I have to say that's disappointing. It's a huge event. I thought too that this whole 250th anniversary, especially on July 4th, nationwide would just be much, much bigger. But I don't know. It seems to be falling flat, falling short. It has been the case for the past 2 weeks, especially over the past week leading up to this. And even this, like they do have crowds out there, no question about it. But I think the politics has been so divisive and so toxic that it's just left America shortchanged itself, I think, in some respects. And now the weather, not doing anybody any favors either. What a shame.
said mud check, and they thought I was coming back in.
What a shame. Now, Hugh was talking about, well, here, I've got this I'll share with you first. But he was talking about Elvis and celebrities. And I have something to share with you that I think will make you laugh tonight. But this a drone and fireworks show that is pretty freaking spectacular.
God bless America! I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
We're going totally NASCAR, baby. That's pretty freaking cool, I have to say that. America. Bring the audio down. That's pretty cool, man. Gotta love that. Back in Canada, excuse me, compare that to what how some people celebrated Canada Day. This is actually from, what was this, Alberta Days or something? This is from, I believe it was on Canada Day. And this is the guy from the Whistle Stop out in Alberta, one of the top separatists. And he took advantage of the day to, I wasn't aware of this. I'm going to show you though. This is him basically peddling some sort of an investment scheme. It looks like it's going to help him get out of debt.
Back in May, actually last year at Albertans Day last year, you might have heard me talking about how I plan to have my semi-exit from the Whistle Stop Cafe. And since then, it's been a very slow process because everything is slow with bureaucracy. But the idea is we started
Oops.
Back in May, actually last year at Albertans Day last year, you might have heard me talking about how I plan to have my semi-exit from the Whistle Stop Cafe. And since then, it's been a very slow process because everything is slow with bureaucracy. But the idea is we started a cooperative called the Whistle Stop Cooperative. And rather than me selling this place to the first person that comes through and bulldozes it and puts up a Denny's, what we're doing is we started a cooperative and we're going to sell shares, legit cooperative shares registered with Service Alberta, so that you folks can own this place. So when I sell, I'm not selling it to someone so I can go and do something else. I'm giving it back and selling it back to the community that supported it in the first place. So you folks are all going to have an opportunity to own a piece of this. And then my hope is that together, and of course a cooperative is governed by a board of directors, and you guys will eventually elect those directors, this place will sustain and continue to represent what it has for the last few years. That's my goal. But at the same time, it also allows me to get out from underneath the mountain of crushing debt that we were left with over COVID, which still hasn't gone away, by the way. And no, people did not donate so that I could buy this place with no mortgage. I still have a mortgage. We raised enough for a down payment and then got into a really terrible mortgage, which somebody else very kindly bought out. So I do still have a mortgage. But that exit plan, that was kind of like me saying, okay, well, I'm 3 years, I'll be 50. Kind of want to do something where I'll be able to spend some more time with my kids, but now I can't not have this place. So that's why we started the Whistle Stop Cooperative. And I'm hoping that we have that finished this year for sure, so that people can start buying shares. Because if you think about You think about what we do individually, right? We can do some things as individuals, but what have we done together since 2021? Think about that. We've literally changed the world starting in Alberta because we did it together. Now imagine what we could do with this place if we did it together. I mean, you should be sitting on pavement. We could do that. You know, we could do all sorts of things. So that's the idea.
Is that the idea? You want to invest in that? Wow. What's Albertans Day? That's a middle finger to Canada. That's Canada Day that they've renamed. He's renamed Albertans Day. Couldn't even have their own day. They've got to give the middle finger to Canada. Yeah, he's a real patriot. Not. That's how some people celebrated Canada Day, 250th in the States. Also, should have been a much bigger deal, I think, but a lot of things just working against the whole shebang out there. I'm disappointed. I would like to see it succeed. But now this weather coming in, and it looks like a lot of people, I don't going to have many people left out there. So it looks like it's pretty much wrapping up. I don't know what's going to happen with Trump and his speech, which is, it's at least an hour away, maybe more. And I don't know if we're going to be able to stick around for it. We've got this. This is from just a little while ago, but let's get some reaction on the ground out there at the Freedom 250 event tonight.
Freedom 250 just got shut down. Lightning, yeah, they want everybody out of here. Yeah. Lightning, yeah. Lightning's on the way. Right? Look how disappointed they are. This is 2 days in a row. Well, Freedom 250 just got shut down.
Bummer. Okay. Bummer. So due to severe weather, Freedom 250 has made the decision to temporarily halt the event. That was like an hour ago, though, so I don't know if this is coming back or not. Controversy out there, too, of course. I guess Washington Post reporting that some people who donated and intended to give money to America 250, a bipartisan effort to celebrate the 250th anniversary, were given information, routing, and account numbers that directed the money they donated to Freedom 250, which is something that President Trump established. This, according to political opponents, Democrats. So is this a scandal? There's so much. This is so stinky. So stinky. Yeah, all the people have been evacuated. This is not looking good, baby. No more flyovers, people being evacuated. I don't know how they recover from this now. What are they going to do? Bring Trump out and speak to nobody there? No, I think they're going to have to cancel the whole thing. And I'm just seeing here now that there is an announcement that is saying the event canceled and flyover stopped due to severe weather entering the area. And yes, people leaving the area. Let me get you, if it'll run. Bad internet connection again here. We have video. People again scrambling to take cover and get the heck out of there. So she's all over. That's all she wrote in the Freedom 250 event in Washington. It's July 4th, 2026. Bomber. And another please evacuate order coming from the organizers posted online. GB News reporting on this, calling it utter pandemonium, requiring everyone to evacuate. I guess some people are refusing. Maybe they'll get carried away by the storm. I hope not. We're back. Okay. I think maybe we lost our feed there again because of the net, but we're here. That's a live feed out of Washington tonight, where the Freedom 250 event apparently has now been canceled because of severe weather. Fear not, I have a couple more things to share with you before we sign off here tonight, though. Oh, yes, also, it wouldn't be a proper broadcast tonight if we didn't talk about what's going on with Iran. So we've seen just even overnight, even though we have something of a ceasefire that's supposed to remain in place, Iran launching attacks against Bahrain and Kuwait, U.S. military bases there overnight. But Trump is saying that he's going to give Iran a week off from hostilities, I guess because it's the 250th birthday of America. We'll see if even that holds. Here's a report out of ABC.
Overseas now to the escalation of retaliatory strikes between the U.S. and Iran over the Strait of Hormuz. Overnight, Iran launched a barrage of missiles and drones toward Bahrain and Kuwait, home to U.S. military bases. It's straining an already fragile ceasefire agreement. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang.
Tonight, the U.S. and Iran escalating threats and attacks. Tehran says it targeted U.S. military sites in Kuwait and Bahrain, warning American bases in the region will be experiencing hell during these days. A U.S. official tells ABC News Iran launched drones and missiles.
And no doubt it's freezing because the internet sucks.
Towards those neighboring countries. So far, no reported U.S. casualties or damage. This image released by the Iranian military
still freezing. Hopefully it comes back. Stay with me here.
appears to show a message written on a missile launched at allies in the region. The message taunting the president, saying the only success of Trump is the increased income of American coffin makers and wheelchair manufacturers for his soldiers in this defeated war. The new attacks come hours after the U.S. struck Iran again in direct response to continued Iranian aggression against commercial shipping. Trump issuing a warning saying there may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job.
And of course it freezes again. Hang on. Is he going to run for us?
That we very successfully started.
The president's patience isn't going to last forever.
That U.S. strike retaliation for an Iranian drone hitting a tanker on Saturday, the second attack on a ship crossing the Strait of Hormuz in just days. Both sides signing that.
My apologies again for the internet. It's beyond my control. All right, let's just pull out of that. I can't continue with that because it's not running. So now with that, let's go to this Ted Nugent post, and hopefully this thing runs for us. And maybe we can close off tonight's broadcast with this. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.